Welcome to the Breakthrough to Purpose, Passion, and Prosperity. Today we have Michelle Petties. She's a speaker, an author, food story coach. That's food story coach. I love that.
Food story coach, yes.
And the host of Get the Backstory Live, which airs monthly on the SORC TV radio network. Her memoir, Leaving Large, the stories of a food addict, a category winner in the 2022 Memoir Prize for Books, features the award-winning essay, I love this, The Cake is in the Mail. We got to talk about that. That's lovely. Her memoir illustrates how events, experiences, and memories inform our beliefs, our attitudes, and habits around food. Eating and hunger. After gaining and losing over 700 pounds, lies she tells, I don't know who that was. 700 pounds.
All true.
Michelle developed a prescriptive writing process for making peace with her mind, body, and food. Michelle now conducts healing through reading, writing, and storytelling workshops, where she teaches others how to find their food and personal truths. She speaks to organizations, large and small, sharing her unique insight and her story of hope, healing, triumph, and transformation. Welcome, Michelle Petty. I'm so glad that you're here.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
So tell me, I always start out, I'm corny. Let me just say that up front. I start out with this. So I'm a birthday girl. I'm into people's birthdays. So when were you born?
The year or the day?
The day.
Yes, the 25th of May.
25th of May. So you're that Gemini girl.
I am. Yeah, all that split personality stuff going on. So you're actually talking to 5 people right now.
You are the first. You are the first I've talked to. How many Geminis have we talked to, Sam? At least 2. They all said to me that, Tanya, I only have 2 personalities. That's it. I don't have all those other personalities. I don't know what they're talking about. Right. But at least you went to 5. And
yeah, I gotta claim them. I gotta claim them.
That's awesome. My little goddaughter, she's May 29th. And yeah, I'm not sure. Like, I don't know. I never know who I'm talking to. I just never know who I'm talking to. And the kids now, they come out at least 20, right? So she's asking me questions and talking to me. I'm thinking, this chick is 4 years old. It's
You're fully formed, right?
Right. I understand the context of things and all that. I'm thinking, okay. Well, let me ask you, how has that worked out for you, those 5 personalities in your life?
Oh my God. You know, it has been a journey. It has been a journey to learning to love all of them.
Okay.
Learning to, and really expose the unique gifts of all 5 of them. So it's been a journey. It still is a journey. It always will be a journey. It's a process, but it's good. It's good work. It's good work. Yeah.
I received that.
Yeah.
Do you have names for them?
Well, I have names for my primary personality.
Okay.
Yeah.
And besides Michelle,
Melissa.
Oh, so Michelle and Melissa, got it. Okay,
yeah.
so got it. I hope Michelle is here today.
She is.
So tell me, who are you, Michelle Petties?
I'm so glad you asked that question. And I'm glad you're asking that question today and not 5 years ago, right? Who I am today is a woman that is on a mission to make sure that the 40 years of my life that I spent trapped in food addiction and obesity were not a waste of my life. That I'm on a mission to make sure that is the truth that I can share with people, that there's freedom. Freedom is available to them.
I read that the food addiction probably came from your mother not raising you, or where do you think the food addiction came from?
Okay, so this is a complex problem.
Okay.
And it's a problem that even when I wrote the book, I didn't understand the depths of it like I understand now. I wrote the book in 2021, and now it's 2024. The name of the book is Leaving Large, the Stories of a Food Addict. If I were writing the book now, I'd probably call it Leaving Large, the Stories of a Processed Food Addict. Because there's a difference, right? And there's a difference that most people don't understand. And this gets to the root of your question of where did it come from? Why is this happening? Not just to me, but why is it happening to 4 out of 5 African American women that are either overweight or obese? Why is it happening to the rest of this population that, according to the World Obesity Institute, by 2035, 50% of the population will be obese if things don't stop. And it is because we live in a toxic food environment. We have a toxic food culture that people don't understand, and it's not people's fault. It's not even my fault, right? It was not even my fault, because we have a snack food industry, a junk food industry, a fast food industry that formulates food to make it addictive. To make it addictive. They design it to be addictive. The sugar, the fat, the additives, the stuff that we can't pronounce.
The stuff that we can't
The
pronounce.
stuff that we can't pronounce. That all is addiction. That all feeds addiction. And addiction is not a weight control thing. Addiction is something that impacts the brain. So you have to. Addiction changes the brain. So if you're constantly on a diet, trying to fight it like it's a diet and it's really a brain issue, you will always feel like a failure. You will always lose. You will never win, because that's not what the issue is. The issue is that we have this toxic culture that encourages people to eat when they are not hungry. And that's one thing right there. It pushes people to eat when they're not hungry. It praises people for eating when they're not hungry. It tells people that food is the answer to everything, and food is the answer to only one thing, which is hunger. And we aren't taught that. We are taught to eat for appearance, taste, smell, and pleasure. That's how we're taught to eat.
I received that, yes.
Appearance, taste, smell, and pleasure. But the reason to eat is for nutrition, nourishment, and energy. People say all the time, "Oh my God, I'm an emotional eater," or "Oh, that looks good, that smells good. I think I'm gonna get some of that," right? But who says I'm a nutritional eater?
No one.
And yet, that is the only reason to eat. That's the purpose of eating, for nutrition and nourishment. Who says, "Oh, you know what? I think I need to." I think I need to have some vegetables. I need to have some greens. I need to have some carrots. I need to have some celery. I need to have some cucumbers. I need to have some of that because my body needs those nutrients. No, what we say is, "Oh, girl, what you got? I should have got some of that because that looks really good right there." Have you had that before? Look at this, y'all. Right? That's how we make the decision.
Right.
Right. What looks appetizing, and so we're taught that, right? We're taught that. We're not taught on a fundamental level the connection between what we eat and why we eat, and how that not just impacts our body, but how that drives brain function. How we need nutrition for cognition.
Excuse me.
We need nutrition for cognition. Bless you. Bless
Excuse
you.
me.
We need it for brain function. We need to eat right so we can perform at a higher level. We need to eat right so we can produce at a higher level. We need to eat right so we can be competitive, right? We need that. Let's eat for that reason. And then we're not worried so much about how we're performing at school, how we're performing on the job, because we're feeding our brains. If there's some brain fog going on, if there's some memory loss going on, if there's some confusion going on, if there's some you're not quite getting this concept, not quite moving up the ladder, quite as quickly, take a look and see what you're eating for lunch.
And also, certain things you eat make you tired, and you get that brain fall, and you want to go to sleep.
Yes, absolutely. And nobody's paying anybody to sleep on the job, right?
No.
But the other piece of the thing is, so much of this. And I struggled with this for a very long time. It's like we know, oftentimes we know how, and oftentimes we know what, but there's this space in between what and how where people get stuck, right? That's where the work is. That's where the process is. That's where the mastery is. And the problem is, and you asked me why I was a food addict, is because I didn't have this thing, and I didn't have food management skills as food management mastery, and at the root of that is emotion management mastery, because if we are eating because we're stressed, or because we're bored, or because we're lonely, or because we're frustrated, or because we have any number of emotions going on that maybe we haven't even identified. It's just some discomfort that has just showed up in our stomach, and we decide, I think I want. So
The Girl Scout
right,
are the worst, right? When they come out, then you like, forget it.
So as much as it's a food management mastery, food skills, it's emotion management and emotion skill management, to be able to even recognize that it's emotion that you need to deal with, and then know how to deal with the emotion. So once we're no longer afraid of being lonely, once we're no longer afraid of being sad, once we're no longer afraid of being of grief, once we're no longer afraid of fear, once we're no longer afraid think that emotions are bad things, rather than recognizing that we need them for data, for information. Emotions are good things. Once we learn to honor our emotions and not feel some sort of discomfort or some sort of way when one shows up, then we won't have to eat to cover it up. Then we can just deal with the emotion and start to understand what real hunger feels like. Most people don't even know what real hunger feels like, because they've spent so much time eating for reasons that don't have anything to do with hunger.
Yeah. Especially in America, we don't really know anything about what hunger feels like.
We don't know. We don't know. And it's something that's perpetuated. It's perpetuated by the snack food industry, by the junk food industry, by the fast food industry that cares more about profits than our health. And so we have to care about our health. And we have to reclaim our health. We have to take our health back. And I will tell you, when I first got on this journey and wanted to do something, it wasn't even a health issue for me, right? I just wanted to wear cuter clothes. I mean, I was like,
I received that.
I just wanted to wear cuter clothes. And for a long time, I felt kind of like, am I that shallow? Is that all I care about, right? But then I came to realize that, the clothes thing was a symbol of some other things, right? It was representative of how I wanted to show up in the world. And the reality is that I couldn't show up being my best if I was feeling my worst. None of us can.
Exactly.
And food is key to that. And for so many of us, we have felt bad for so long. We have been unhealthy for so long. We haven't understood it for so long. We don't even know what it feels like. We don't know what good health looks like. We don't know what good health feels like. And so we just take the space that we're in and we claim it, right? We just claim it because we don't know what to do with it.
And receive it. What was your aha moment that made you say, hey, I've got to lose some of this weight because I need to get into that sexy lingerie?
Well, I was on a 40-year journey. I always felt like I needed to lose weight.
Okay.
From the time I was 20 to the time I was 60, I lost and gained 700 pounds. I would lose 30, gain 40, lose 40, gain 50, lose 50, gain 60. I was always somewhere in that cycle, either trying to lose it or after I've lost it, fighting to maintain it, right, and losing the battle, right, because I hadn't changed my belief system. So I could go from a size 26 to a 14, what I call a black woman's 10. I could go from a size 26 to a 14 and go back and gain the weight back because my mind was still a size 26, even though I had lost the weight. So I struggled with it, and there wasn't one aha moment.
Okay.
In my book, I write about, there's a book in my chapter called Rock Bottom. And one of the key points of that book is that there were many rock bottom moments. There's all, you know, there's you don't, it's like you don't know how low you can go until you go lower.
Right? Right. I get it.
Like, I thought that was it, but it wasn't. This is it. I think this is it, but it might not be. You know? So, well, anyway, I got to one point where I'll tell you what happened. I was invited to a women's conference, and I'm happy to be talking about that because this is international. This is Women's Month, Women's Appreciation Month. I was invited to a women's conference back in, I want to say maybe 2011, 2012, someplace like that. And I had never been invited. I had never been to one, and I'd always worked in a job where independence, was key. You were on a team, but it was your individual performance that was always at stake. So, you want to be on a team, you want to trust people, but not really, right? Right. And so I always worked in this like really kind of competitive space. But I was in a new position, and someone had invited me to this women's conference, and she was a client, and I felt obliged to go. Right? Very nice of you to do this for me. Of course, I'll come. And so I go to this women's conference. And this conference, in many ways, changed my life. I had never been in a room where the energy was such that it was all women. It was all women of color. And it was just this supportive energy of, sis, I got you. Sis, I got you. I'd never experienced that. And I'm like, oh, wow, might be something to this, right? Might be something to it. But I remember going to a session, a breakout session, and I was at a particularly low period in my life, because remember I said this is 2010, 2012. This is after the economy has crashed, and I went down in flames with it. And so the woman that was facilitating the group said, you can break out your life in different areas. Look at your finances, look at your education, look at your health, look at your environment, look at your like 6 different categories and rate them, right? So all these areas of your life, spiritual, just all that. There wasn't any area of my life that I could rate over a 5. A lot of them were 3s. And I'm like taking an honest look at this. And she said, well, just imagine if you could increase these areas like 1%. Like 1% a day, what that would look like. And I got to tell you, Tanya, I was at such a low point in my life, I couldn't imagine that. That seemed like a heavy lift to be able to do that, because I was so weighted down. I was so broken from what I felt like life had done to me as a result of the economy. And because I have all these personalities, right? I have all these personalities. I'm the kind of person that's like, if a problem comes at me, then all 5 of us are going to attack that issue with massive action. So I got all 5 of us attacking this issue with massive action, but I got one body. Right, I got 5 personalities. I got one body. We're all trying to attack this problem, and they go out and attack it. But then I run out of steam because I'm really one body. And so I do this massive action, and I get burnt out, and I can't do it. Right. So now I did this whole burst of energy and effort for 3 days a week, a month, or whatever, and then I don't do anything for 6 months, and so it's like I never did anything in the first place. So I said, okay, I have to do something counter to who I am. I'm going to pick one thing. Of all these areas that she talked about, I'm going to pick one thing, and I'm going to just do a deep dive on that. And I decided to make it my health. Okay. I decided to make it my weight, because that was the area where I always failed, where I could never get mastery. In those other areas, I had made plenty of money, lost it and gained. I knew and gained it. I knew how to make money. I could figure that out. All the rest of the stuff I could figure that out too, right? But the weight thing, I didn't have any level of confidence or competence around being able to accomplish that. So I said, I'm gonna do hyper focus on this weight thing. And in the meantime, I lost my car. Right, didn't have a car, and I still had to get to work. I lived in D.C. This job was in Baltimore.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and so I started taking public transportation. Right, long days. I'm walking, right, because I had to walk to the metro. I got to walk to the bus stop. Got to walk to the metro. Got to walk to the bus stop. And what I started to notice after a while is that my clothes were getting looser. I changed my diet a little bit, but I hadn't changed it a lot. And I was like, wait a minute, I can close this jacket? I can, right? And so I started walking more, right? Because at first I was walking because I had to. I walked everywhere because I didn't have a car. And from time to time, I had friends that had cars and they would take me places, but I'm still trying to muscle through it. And then I started walking more. Like on the weekend, I'd go to the track, right? But I was still mad. I was still mad because my old life was disappearing, and I thought I wanted it back and all of that. But I'm still walking, but I see this new body starting to emerge, and things started to change. My eating habits started to change, and then I got a windfall. I got a windfall from some property that I thought I had really messed up. I really did mess it up, but I ended up getting a little windfall off of it. And I was sitting there looking at that check, and my house had Tyvek on it. I mean, all this stuff all broke down, right? I broke down in a major way. My house was wrapped in paper for about 5 years because I couldn't afford to get it fixed. But I got this in my front door. I had these big two beautiful front door, double doors that opened up, held together with duct tape. I'm surprised somebody couldn't broken that house and just just run off with everything because it was all great. The doors, these beautiful kind of red oaky doors with gray duct tape on the back. Like nobody whistling, right? Oh, God. I'm so glad God looked out for me. Because it was a sad situation. So I'm telling you all of this to say, the door was held together with duct tape. I had Tyvek around the house. The roof wasn't leaking, but it needed to be repaired. The neighbors were turning me in because my sidewalk was cracked. I mean, they were reporting me to the people. All that stuff was going on, but I got this money. And I decided to have liposuction. Now, somebody else might have done something else with that money, considering the situation. But I was at a point where I needed to see something, right? And like I said, I feel like I could get them. I could make money. I feel like I could write it, but I needed to see something else happening in my body because I had been encouraged by the walking, but it was doing stuff, but it was only doing so much.
Right, I get you.
And so I went to a doctor, and the doctor said, "Yeah, I can help you." So I took a chunk of that money, and I got liposuction, and it changed things for me. Because what happened, obviously, be fully transparent. Part of my issue with the exercise was that I needed a breast reduction too. I don't even know what size bra I wore because I just after a while the size didn't even matter, right? But so insurance would cover the breast reduction because it was a medical issue, but it would not cover the tummy tuck. But the doctor said, while I'm in there, I can do the tummy tuck, all at the same time. I'm like, okay, bet, let's do it. And so when I got the breast reduction, when I got the tummy tuck, being able to have the breast reduction allowed me to feel more confidence in my body and be able to move in a different way and to exercise in a different way. But it actually did help me with confidence too. And when I got the tummy tuck and I looked down and I saw the possibility of how my body could be changed that helped me see, right? So that was a catalyst for me. So that was a catalyst for me to exercise more, to change my diet, and to just keep in the direction, keep going in that direction. And then I had another round of liposuction because one of my personalities weren't all that patient. So I got another round, and I got down to the 14. I'm like, God, I'm good, right? If I can just get here, I can maintain this, and I did for a little while, right? But then I saw the weight, this outside entity of the weight creeping back. After me saying, if I can just get to 14, I can maintain it. It started coming back, and I was horrified because I didn't understand. Because what I didn't understand then is I really didn't have the skills. I didn't have the skills to do it. I didn't know what I needed to know in order to maintain it. So when I saw it coming back, but I did know that I didn't want to go back to where I was. I had that level of consciousness that to intervene sooner. So I went to a doctor that I had been seeing, and I was like, you have to help me. And she said, okay, I can help you. And at the same time, I did something else that I had never done in all my years of dieting. That's why I was waiting for her. I just prayed. I was like, God, you've got to help me. Help me. I mean, something is going on. What am I missing? I cannot continue to keep doing this. Help me see what I'm missing. And so the doctor came in, and she said, okay, here's a plan for you to follow, right? Here are the shots for you to take, and come back and see me in a week. I had no hesitation whatsoever that I would be able to follow that plan and follow those shots and do those shots. I had done it many times before. I had gone to many doctors, lost the weight, but I'd always gained it back. So I wasn't concerned about that. I was concerned about, okay, I'm going to lose it, but what am I missing so that I can maintain it? Let me understand this. So she said, follow this plan. Here's the plan. Take the shots. You're not going to be hungry and you're going to lose weight. And sure enough, she was right. And I did that for a couple of weeks. But I still prayed, right? And then there came a time, Tanya, and this is the turning point. I wanted to eat something, but I wasn't hungry. And it came to me. It had never come up in my consciousness before that I'm eating, I want to eat, but I'm not hungry. And I had to sit with that question. That's the first thing I learned. I had to sit with the question, right? Get the awareness, get the consciousness, and then sit with the question. Because she had said, if you follow this plan, take these shots, you won't be hungry. And I wasn't hungry. So I'm like, well, why do I want to eat if I'm not hungry? What is going on? I'd never been in a place where I could even ask myself that question. I never had the consciousness to do that. And so I'm sitting here, and this is what happened. I remember this so clearly. I was in my bedroom. I was in my bedroom house upstairs, and I thought about a conversation that I had with my uncle back in the 90s. I'm from the South. You can probably tell from talking. I'm from Texas. I grew up in the Texas. Grew up with my grandparents who were farmers, and we were on my uncle's farm. We were having a barbecue, cookout, something, right? That's what we do down there, and we brought out some watermelon, right? And I asked my uncle, I was like, Billy, do you want some of this watermelon? And my uncle's probably 75 years old or so. He says, no, I don't eat watermelon. And I heard him then when he said it. I didn't know that this story was going to be important some 30 years later. But he said, I don't eat watermelon. And he didn't say I don't like it. He didn't even say I don't want it. He said, I don't eat it. And I'm like, well, why? I mean, it's your watermelon. It's your farm. It's a barbecue. It's a cookout. We black people, that's what we do. No, I just don't eat it. Well, there's got to be a reason. No, I just don't eat it. And so I kept pestering him. And he finally told me that when he was a little boy, when he was a kid in Marshall, Texas, 1930s Marshall, Texas Depression, he and some buddies stole a watermelon from a neighbor's garden. And his father, who was also my grandfather, found out about it. And when my grandfather found out about it, he wasn't a happy guy. And the thing about my grandfather is my grandfather was a church trustee, and my grandfather was a railroad worker. And the one person that a kid that just stole a watermelon doesn't want to meet is that guy. And so when my grandfather found out about it, he beat my uncle. He beat him. He beat him so severely that he never ate watermelon again. And I grew up with this, hearing this, and I know many people that grew up with, "I'll beat the taste out of your mouth." Well, that's a real thing, right? That really happened in this case, and when my uncle told me that story, Tanya, I looked at him and I said, "Well, Billy, that was 60 years ago. Do you think maybe now that you look back, do you think maybe the lesson was supposed to be thou shalt not steal?"
Right?
Right? My uncle looked at me and said, "I don't eat watermelon." And that was that. And when that story came up in my consciousness, Tanya, that was God answering my prayer. That was God telling me what I needed to know. And I made the instant connection. I had instant understanding that my uncle did not eat watermelon because of that event, because of that memory, because of the experience, because the trauma was so severe, he couldn't bring himself to eat this fruit that he once loved as a kid, because the association of the event, the feeling was so close to the watermelon that he couldn't separate it. So in an instant, he stopped eating watermelon. His behavior changed in an instant because his belief about the watermelon changed in an instant. The belief that if I ever do this again, my ass gonna beat, right? Right? And when that came up, I was like, oh my God, then the opposite must be true for me. The stuff that I can't stop eating, the stuff that I always want to eat, that I consume in mass quantities, has everything to do with the happy memories, with the beliefs and the events and the experience that I associate with the food. That I don't necessarily even want the food. What I want is to be transported back to what the food reminds me of, the memory. It was like the heavens opened up when I got that. It's not the food. It's what I think about when I think about the food, right? It's what I connect with the food. It's what I associate with the food. That's the thing that I want. And then I just started going back through my memory and just ticking off everything. And that's where the book came from. It's a collection of these stories where I identify what those old associations were and how I now break them and create new associations. And that's what we all do. Everybody does it. And this is what I call food stories. And every time I talk to somebody about, okay, when you think about a certain food, what's that memory, right? Everybody has food stories, right? Everybody has a food that they associate to a certain memory. And the more you talk about it, you can see how it's attached to certain behaviors. But the other thing that happened in that same moment, that story took me to what is the actual definition of food. And I Googled it up. I looked it up. I'm sitting here right now, 65, almost 66 years old, and telling you that I looked up the definition of food for the first time in my life when I was 60 years old. Been eating it all my life. Looked up the definition. I was 60 years old before I looked up for the first time. Right there in Google, nutrition, nourishment, energy. That's all it is. That is its purpose. It's fuel. It's not any of this other stuff. And when I took that understanding and laid it on top of that, what I call the watermelon story with my uncle, it gave me instant clarity and the ability to change how I manage food, to get food mastery, right? To get food management skills. And yet the clarity came instantaneously, but the ability to do it, you got to practice it, right? Especially when you're living in this culture. But that is the story of my aha moment, of how I've gotten to this place of wanting to share this and teach this to other people, right? How they can apply it in their own lives. Because once you understand the stories that are driving you, once you can understand them, once you identify them, once you discover them, once you uncover them, then you can rewrite them. And our power is in the rewriting of those stories. That's what we can do.
So, there's so many things I want to ask, but based on the change from the stories that kept you eating, what are the stories you're telling yourself now that keep you eating food just for nutrition?
Oh, my God. You know, it is... that's a beautiful question. Because I'm working on a project right now with some women in my group, and it's called The Apology. And part of it is this: a lot of the issues that I had around the foods that I ate, and people that are struggling with food addiction and obesity right now, is where the food comes from. And when I say where the food comes from, I mean who is serving it. Because in many cases, and I'm sure you've heard people say, food is my love language, right? Mm-hmm. And good quality wholesome food you can love somebody, mm-hmm. by feeding them, because we need food to live. Mm-hmm. But there are certain things in this culture that people eat that you may call it your love language, but it is poison and it's killing people. No matter how good it looks, no matter how good it tastes, we have to just really get clear on what is this
What's
really food, what's
mm-hmm.
in it. But we don't know, mm-hmm. because we've been taught to make decisions in a different way. So to answer your question about what do I tell myself now, I have a process that I go through. I have a process that I teach when it comes to being conscious about what you eat and why you eat. Before everything I eat, I ask myself 3 questions. Why this food now? Why this particular food now as opposed to something else? If this food is not going to give me the body I say that I want, why am I eating it? Yeah, you gotta ask that question, right?
I'm with you.
and the third question is, am I hungry or am I something else?
Am I hungry or am I
something else?
I receive it.
So the practice of taking the time to ask those questions before everything can shift a moment. It can shift. It helps you make the shift from eating for addiction and eating for nutrition. It helps you make the shift to be able to solve whatever the problem is, and on a lot of different levels. Mm-hmm. I'll give you one quick example. A while back, I was headed to a meeting, mm-hmm. and I was late, right? Late. Not paying attention while I was driving, I hit a curb. Mm-hmm. Hit a curb and blew out a tire. Mm-hmm. Right now, I'm not gonna make the meeting. Right. When I hit the curb and blew out the tire, I was in front of a shopping center that had a Dunkin' Donuts. Mm-hmm. It had a Stanford Kitchen. It had another restaurant. It had like a bunch of different restaurants. One of those little shopping plazas, right? One of those little shopping plazas. So I pulled over there. Now I'm not only am I gonna be late. I'm not gonna be late for the meeting. I'm gonna miss the meeting. Now I got this blown tire, right? Mm-hmm. My whole day is jacked. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna spend some money I hadn't planned on spending, all that, right? And I'm in the parking lot. And I look over and I see the restaurant. It's about 11:30. It's lunchtime somewhere. Lunchtime somewhere. Now I've had breakfast, so I'm not hungry. I wasn't thinking about food
until the tire blew.
Until my tire broke first. And as I sat there in the parking lot, I thought to myself, in the old days, I would just park the car right there, gone right over there to that restaurant, had myself a glass of wine, maybe 2 glasses of wine, lunch, right, early lunch, right, all this. maybe a fried chicken salad, right? Because it's a salad. Because it's a salad, right? Some cornbread. And then come back and deal with the issue. Frustration, right? Frustration, anger, not hunger, not any of those things. Some stress, all that. Some discomfort, all that's going on. But we misidentify it. So what I did was I called AAA. They came out. They fixed the tire. I called the people. Can we reschedule? Oh, all those things. Call the people, reschedule, AAA, fix the tire, and went on about my business. Once I did those things, the desire to eat went away.
Because you fixed the problem.
Because
you didn't feed yourself to feel like that was going to make you feel better.
Right, I fixed the problem. So now the problem is fixed. I've got my time back, and not only that, Tanya, I got my money back. Because I thought I sat there and I thought about how many times did I do the exact opposite? Did I go over to the restaurant, right? Have my 2 glasses of wine, get my salad, blah blah blah. Maybe I spend $40 for lunch. So if I do that once a week, as a coping mechanism for a year, right? That's like $175, $160 a month. That's spent unnecessarily on this meal that could have been avoided. You multiply that times a year, right? You multiply that. Let's not even for the 40 years that I did it. Let's do it for 10 years. If I had done that, by not doing that, taking that money and investing it at 6%, I might not be even talking to you right now. I might be someplace else. But my whole point is that when we don't, by not having the skills to cope with the situation in an appropriate manner, it impacts us on multiple levels, right? And there's just to be able to deal with the problem, and then the unnecessary costs associated with the problem. So it cuts across many different things. Yeah.
I totally get that. I see it totally. Let's go back.
Okay.
Let's go back to Marshall, Texas.
Okay.
Boogie Woogie Town. Is it Boogie Woogie Town?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. The home of the Boogie Woogie.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So
it was invented there.
Okay. You know who invented it?
Yes, I knew you would ask me that, but I forgot. I wrote a whole story about it and forgot the man's name. Forgot his name.
Okay. Cool. Were the people in your family heavyset?
So, not really.
Okay.
So let me say this. I only knew my mother's side of my family. I don't know my biological father's side of my family. But inside that, my core family, no. I had an aunt that was heavy set, right? But my mother was slender. My aunt was slender. My grandfather was a laborer. He was a muscular kind of guy. My grandmother was a petite woman. She probably carried maybe 20 pounds more than what she wanted to, but she wasn't.
Right, I'm with
wasn't
you.
An issue. But here's a lot of things converged, right? A lot of things converged in me, and I definitely think that the sugar addiction, that thing happened early, right? That thing happened very early. Also, I do think the fact that I am a survivor of childhood sexual abuse, that thing, that was a part of it. And I talk about this in my book, that I was dealing with a lot of stuff. I grew with my grandparents. I knew my mother. What I didn't know back then was that my mother asked my grandparents to raise me because she loved me. And as a kid, I
can't connect that.
I couldn't see that, right? It didn't feel like love. It felt like abandonment.
Exactly.
It felt like I wasn't good enough.
You
It
weren't
felt
at an
like
age where you could process it.
I couldn't process it, right? And so, it felt like I wasn't as good as the other kids. So I'm trying to always dealing with that. So, and then one of the stories that I write about in the book is I grew up in Marshall, Texas. I grew up there in the desegregating South in the early 60s and was one of the first kids to integrate this white school that was near my house. Well, now that I think about it, that process for me wasn't traumatizing externally. And what I mean by that is that the kids and the teachers in that school, the white kids and the white teachers in that school were decent, right? Can't remember any sort of experience that had me running home. I don't want to go to this school. White people, white kids. None of that. It was really a sweet experience.
Okay.
And I think I write about the fact when I got there, the issue was they didn't know me and I didn't know them either, right? That's what it was. And so those first days, those first weeks were lonely because I missed my people, right? I missed my tribe, right? But my grandparents, they were going to make sure that I represented, right? Right? You're gonna have a good lunch, right?
Right.
You're gonna have plenty, right? Right? And I'm gonna eat it all, right?
Right, got it.
So the lunchtime that was a lonely period for a long time, right? And even after I got past the point where it wasn't lonely, the habit had already been established. Right? So that's what happens in so many cases.
Many things.
So many cases.
Not just food, just a lot of things.
Right. Is that I think about and we can come back to Marshall. We'll come back to Marshall in just a second. But I think about in the many times in my career when I was working, and I was an outside salesperson, and I'm driving, right, and I'm at the gas station more than the average bear. Well, there's no good food for you that's good at the gas station.
No, not at all.
Anything, right? But I never realized that that driving from appointment to appointment was stressful to me. I never realized that because every time I went to the gas station, I was picking up some Twinkies or something that numbed it, right? So I never felt that, right? So maybe the first time I stopped to get gas because I was headed to a client's and it was lunchtime, maybe I actually really was hungry. Maybe the second time I really was hungry. But by the times after that, it just became a conditioned response. I'm at the gas station and get something to eat.
Let me get a snack.
Right. It just and then you do that. You do that for 40 years, right? And then the snacks get bigger. The packages get bigger.
Right.
It'll say serving size 6, but they'll put it all. They put it all in the same package, and nobody's going to pull out 6.
Does anybody ever really look at the serving size? Real talk.
Right. No, but they know that the marketers know that, the manufacturers know that, and we all suffer as a result of it. But it does become, it's like habit. So you gotta, once you stop it, right? Once you're conscious of it, then you can redirect it and do something different. It's like I'm working with a person right now, and we were on the phone, and she's like, Michelle, what's wrong with popcorn? I can't have popcorn. I can't have that. Right?
And what did you tell her?
And I said, I don't tell anybody not to eat or not to eat anything. I just say read up on it, read the information, and you decide if you want that in your body. So I want you to read up on corn and find out about all the mycotoxins in corn. Find out about how they store it. Find out how they store their flour. Find out what that processing does. Find out what that does for your body. You determine if you want that in your body.
Can I just say
if it's worth it?
It's depressed me. Can I just say that? Can I say you just depressed me? Because every now and then I like me a little popcorn. At this moment, I was like, Lord, have I killed my?
So let me share what I discovered and share it with her, because I get when sometimes you want to snack, right? Even though I fundamentally believe that we snack not because we're hungry.
Yeah.
We snack because something
I'm
else
aligned
is
with
going
that
on.
thinking.
You know,
I'm
we're
definitely
bored,
aligned with
right?
that thinking.
But if you're working through it, trying to figure it out, you may as well do it with something healthy. Do it with something that's not going to kill you. So here's the recipe I gave her: chickpeas, garbanzo beans. You get a can of them, or if you're more frugal, just buy some dried ones and cook them, and then spread them out and let them dry. You know, paper towel them, get all the moisture out of them. And do you have an air fryer? Everybody has an air fryer these days.
Yes, I
have
do.
one. Okay, then put them in the air fryer. Put them in the air fryer with a little avocado oil or olive oil or something like that. Some spices, get them crunchy. Air fry up some garbanzo beans. Then take them out. Paprika, onion powder, garlic powder, cayenne, Italian spices, whatever spices you want. Put them in a little bag. Now you have yourself a healthy snack that's about the size of popcorn. About the color of popcorn, right? And
You know I'm not sold right. I'm going with you,
yeah,
but
right,
you know I'm
right.
not sold right.
Okay. If that doesn't work for you, then read up on corn and see if that would change your mind.
I just don't understand. Okay.
because I will tell you, Tanya, here's the question. Earlier I said, people make decisions about what they're going to eat based on appearance, taste, smell, and pleasure. And I gave you the questions that I ask before every bite. The larger question is this safe? That's the larger question. Is this safe? And we just have to be really clear that just because it's in Whole Foods,
Whole check? I mean, yeah, okay.
just because it's in Whole Foods, Harris Teeter, wherever it is you go, just because they sell it in the grocery store, doesn't mean that it's safe. To just know that. That we have to start from the assumption that everything that we believe about food is untrue. Everything that they tell us, everything that we've been taught to believe is a lie. If we start there and then start rebuilding, then we can reclaim our health. Then we can take control.
I received that 100%. In terms of, so I hear what you're saying in terms of the snacking thing, like, but it's like everything you really can't eat after a while when you think about it. Potato chips, just everything is like, and we've been so, you know this probably better than me, we've been so every day this food is available, programmed to just kind of, you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's so available. Like, it's so available.
Yeah. And that's the issue. And that's the work. We have to reject it. We have to reject it and understand it. We have to understand that these marketers, that these neuromarketers, these fast food companies, these junk food companies, the snack food companies do not care about our health. That this processed food kills us. It kills us slowly. It kills us bite by bite. And we cannot be distracted by the fact that it is everywhere. We cannot be distracted by the fact that the packaging is pretty. We cannot be distracted by any of that. We have to know the truth. We have to know the truth, or diabetes is a killer.
That's rampant in our culture.
That just didn't show up. That just didn't show up. If you have diabetes today, it is because of part of it is because of food choices that happened yesterday, the day before, last year, the year before, and the year before. That's real. That's real. And so at the root of this, is learning how to control desire. When our desire for our life and our health and our livelihood and our well-being is more important than what something tastes like, then the decision is easy. Understand, I am a food addict, a sugar addict in recovery. I'm the chick that would go out to eat and get dessert first because I'm grown. I can order my food in any order I want to. right?
Because you grown.
Because I'm grown. I can get dessert first.
I got you.
Right.
Mhm.
That was used to be me, right? And now I go somewhere, have a meal. They'll bring out lemon pound cake. They'll bring out peach cobbler. They can bring out the creme brulee. They can bring out anything that they want. Put it right there. I don't even see it. Understand? I'm the person used to get it first. Right now, mm-mm. And invariably, when that happens and I don't get dessert, someone will say to me at the table, "Oh my God, I wish I had your willpower. I wish I had your self-control. I wish I had your self-discipline." And I assure you, I have none of those things. I don't have willpower. I don't have self-control. I don't have self-discipline. What I have is no desire. Because in the old days, when I looked at those desserts, I saw them as beautiful and yummy, and my grandmother used to make them, and we used to have them a big day at church, and it tastes so good. This is what you have at the end of the meal, blah, 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 right? That's what it's going to be so good, right? Now, when I look at it, I said, that's death on a platter. That's poison. So when I look at it now, I see something completely different. So I don't have to resist poison. I don't have to use willpower or self-control or self-discipline, because what I believe about that food is different now than what I used to believe. And when we change what we believe about food, then our behavior changes. And that's what I teach. That's the work, for us to fundamentally change what we believe when we see certain foods. When we see the food that will ultimately cause decline in our health, we need to see it for that. We don't need to say, "Oh, I ate this growing up, right? My mama, this my mama's recipe, this my auntie's recipe is so good," right? That may be true, and you can remember all that, and we can be okay with the memory, but have an understanding that today, that's death. Today, that will kill you. It will put you in ill health.
I received that 100%. So what is your daily meal regimen?
People ask me all the people ask me that all the time, right? All right. And so I want to say this. It is not so important what I eat. The most important thing is what I think about when I eat. It's what I think about when I eat. But I will tell you. So.
Right. What do you think about when you eat?
Right. Yeah. So I do. I think about how this is going to serve my body. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't enjoy food, that food shouldn't taste good, right? But what I am saying is that just from a conscious level, if we're eating for nutrition and nourishment and for our health, can we identify the 15 most nutritious foods and just eat them? And can we identify the 15 foods are the least nutritious and know what those are and just take?
Well, can I get 5? Five of the most.
Okay. All right. So back to what I eat. What I like to eat for breakfast is this, and I'm somebody that used to not eat breakfast. I think green smoothies are are breakfast magic. Breakfast magic. So in my green smoothies, I freeze spinach, I freeze kale, and I freeze arugula, and I freeze microgreens. I freeze any kind of lettuce and stuff like that. I keep that in the freezer. I buy either frozen fruit or I buy fresh fruit, and then I will freeze it. So strawberries, mixed berries, love frozen blueberries, pineapples, mangoes, any of that. I buy bananas, and I let bananas get really, really ripe, right? Because then they're sweeter, right? And you slice up some frozen bananas, you put them in the freezer, take them out. It's a dessert. I mean, fruits are actually nature's dessert. And not without it can be really good even without crust, right? Even without crust. So I took the frozen bananas, all that. Then I have plant-based milk. I love oat milk. Almond milk, cashew milk. Those are in hand. Also, staples for me: vanilla, cinnamon, nutmeg. those are staples for me, and also ground ginger.
Okay.
There was a point when I was using protein powder in my smoothies. I don't do that anymore. What I do now is I cook my own beans. I mean, really, you look at the protein powder, you buy a canister, that's like $36, and you look at the ingredients, right? If it's a plant-based, the first one is some sort of bean, right? Mm-hmm. Well, a bag of beans is $1.99. I may as well cook my own. Cook my own,
right.
Freeze them, put all that in the blender. Put in whatever proportion I feel like. Blend that up. That may take me through breakfast and lunch, depending on how much it is. So I start my day off with greens. I'll start my day off with kale or spinach or some sort of microgreens. Love that. Lately, now for lunch, it doesn't bother me to eat the same thing all day, right? So lately, for this past week, I have been making salmon. Mm-hmm. So I get. I'm so glad. There's a Costco here.
I knew you were gonna say.
I get the big thing of salmon, mm-hmm. right? Slice it up in portions. Spice it up with some Cajun seasoning, mm-hmm. with some jerk seasoning, mm-hmm. something like that. Sear it real quick, freeze it, cook it, pull it out, and eat it. And that's what I eat.
So you eat the salmon alone, or do you have another vegetable with it?
It really just kind of depends, mm-hmm. right? It really depends. But sometimes I'll eat it alone. Sometimes it depends on how hungry I am. I add another vegetable to it. Like I love asparagus. Okay. Like grilled asparagus. Love grilled asparagus. Love cauliflower. Love any sort of vegetable on the grill. Grilled eggplant. Oh my Lord. Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts are probably my favorite. Gotcha. So I'll do some. They're not blackened, but I'll put some olive oil in a pan, and throw some Brussels sprouts in there. I like them dark, like crunchy.
Got it.
And maybe put a few little nuts on it. Maybe some cranberries, something like that. Maybe a little bit of goat cheese, not a lot. And that's what I eat.
So you do very little dairy.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And my other question is, and I'm sure you're probably familiar with it. Some things, they said there's certain things that you should eat according to your blood type. Do you mm-hmm. believe that? I have heard that before. I haven't paid much attention to it. Okay. What I do believe is that everybody's body is different, and you've got to find the thing that works for you. But fundamentally, there are some foods that aren't good for anybody. Correct.
Or some stuff that they call food that's not really food. That's not good for anybody. Okay. So I really work to keep my diet based on lean protein, mm-hmm. right? Lean, high quality protein. I'm not vegan or anything like that. I'm not a vegetarian. I may ultimately end up that way, but I eat fish. There was a point when I was eating chicken. I really stopped eating chicken. So now it's primarily fish. I love salmon. I love mahi. Mm-hmm. Those are probably my two go-to. And then vegetables secondarily.
Do you do any potatoes?
From time to time. But the potato is not a villain. Right, mm-hmm. Not by any means, and then fruit. I love root vegetables. There's this one I had this thing that I make with sweet potatoes, white potatoes, beets, rutabagas, and there's a parsnip. I think carrots and parsnips. So I slice them. I tried the mandolin, but I cut my fingers, so right. I just have to slice those son of a gun. So I slice them and I spread them out, and I put the same spices on it that I was telling you about the garbanzo beans, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. Just some cayenne pepper, some garlic powder, some onion powder, some Italian seasoning, whatever I feel like. Just sprinkle it up, right? Put it in the oven. Put in the oven 375 degrees on both sides, and man, now those are. It's a lovely snack. I get you. Right. Mm-hmm. It's a lovely snack, or you can use it for a meal. Do I do that all the time? No, I don't. But I'm not like, oh no, Because here's the thing: if you take a potato, a potato, just like a regular white potato, it's like 100 calories. A potato's not a villain. But if you take that potato now, you put some sour cream on it, you put some bacon bits on it, you put some cheese on it, you put some chili on top of it. You have just now, eliminated all the nutritional value and made it something other than what it is. So when you fry it up, right? One potato, you could eat six potatoes. You could eat 6 potatoes all day long before. Now you've only probably had 700 calories, right? But if you go to a fast food restaurant, get some French fries, right? Mm-hmm. That thing of French fries is 500 calories because of the fat. Because of the fat, and who knows
what they cooked in it,
right? And who knows what they've done to the potato, right? In the meantime,
right? I receive.
So it is not the potato. It is the processing. It is the stripping. It is the stripping of the nutritional value that gets people in trouble, because your body is saying, "I'm hungry." We give it chips and a soda, right? I've been to the gas station, so I know what people eat at lunchtime. Mm-hmm. I'm hungry. So we go give it chips and a soda, and then a little while later, everybody says, "I'm hungry." So you go back and give it
because none of it has nutrition.
You give it some more chips and soda, but your body is saying, "I want broccoli.
I want some real food.
I want some real food." But we keep giving it chips, and we can never eat enough chips or drink enough soda to give our body what it actually wants, and that's where the addiction comes in, because we're in this cycle of trying to respond to this hunger, but hunger is not a bad thing. Hunger is a good thing. We're taught that it's a bad thing. Curb your hunger. It's not the hunger. Learn to respond to hunger in a healthy and nutritious way, in a way that serves your body.
So you don't eat any red meat, right?
I do not. I haven't eaten red meat for decades.
So do you eat? So essentially, decades. So before then, you were always just eating seafood and fish and stuff like that. It's just a little excessive. Is that what you're telling me?
So here now, when you ask this question, when I look back on it, it's really so odd. It's like I stopped eating red meat when I was in college. So I haven't had red meat since the 70s.
Okay.
But I didn't have the consciousness to apply
that same
mindset to sugar, or I didn't know what was going on. It was just like this stuff was in there swirling around me that I wasn't able really to connect the dots in a way that served my health on a higher level.
I receive
so no. I don't eat red meat. I don't eat pork. I don't eat beef. I don't eat any of that. But yes, I will eat 5 baskets of chips at a Mexican restaurant. I'll eat that. Yes, I'll eat that. I'll eat 2 boxes of Girl Scout cookies. No problem eating that. Right. So back then I couldn't.
Right.
There was this disconnect.
Right. I'm not eating red meat, but I mean all this other stuff that's killing me as well. I got you. Salt cravings. Do you have any salt cravings?
I don't. So
did you find that you did before? Okay.
Because salt was one of the things I had learned to kind of cut out of my diet too. But here's what I'll say about cravings, and here's how I teach people to manage cravings. If you accept that the only problem that food solves is hunger, if we accept that, and if we accept that its purpose is nutrition and nourishment, right? Only problem it solves is hunger, purpose is nutrition and nourishment. We accept those things as true. If you are craving something, let's say you're craving Girl Scout cookies. We've been talking about Girl Scout cookies. You're craving Girl Scout cookies. I say, eat something nutritious. Get a piece of fish, eat some broccoli, eat some mashed potatoes, not with all the butter and all that stuff. Eat a meal. Get full. And if you are still craving the Girl Scout cookies, you know that it's another issue, because you're not hungry. You have just eaten. Because you have accepted the fact that the only purpose of food is to satisfy hunger, right?
Yes.
It's nutrition and nourishment. So if you still want the cookies represent an emotional place that needs to be healed because you're full. That's how you deal with a craving. But you have to be at a place where you can sit with the discomfort of the craving, sit and open up your mind to where that craving takes you, what it means, and unpack and explore that. And once you unpack and explore that, you can start to minimize it and eliminate it, because it's not a situation of being hungry. It's a situation of you believing something about those Girl Scout cookies. It's not true.
I receive it. My next question is, because what this is all supposed to be about, is this your breakthrough to your purpose and your passion? Being the whole food stories, teaching people how to eat, all of them?
Absolutely. And that's what I meant. And that's what I meant at the beginning of the hour. At the beginning of the hour, when I was talking about who I am, is that what I know is that I struggle with the food addiction. I struggle with obesity, morbid obesity, for 40 years. In order to finally get the lesson and the understanding and the insight to be able to help other people, that's why I went through it. Mm-hmm. To be in this chair, to be in this spot, to be behind anybody's microphone, to teach, to share that, first of all, if I can do it, you can do it. Yeah, I'm special, but not that special, right? And that there's hope, and to never give up, and that it's not too late, and that it's absolutely possible. And that people need to see somebody real that's done it. Mm-hmm. People need to see somebody real that talks about it in a real way that they can identify. Mm-hmm. That's why I wrote the book in story form. That's why I write about eating at the church, right? Mm-hmm. That's right. I write because that's real. Everybody goes
can relate.
You can relate. That's why I talk about eating at school at your reunion, right? With your grandparents. It's something that's universal. So everybody has a eats at the cookout, right? The 4th of July picnic. I mean, everybody can relate to what happens when the potato salad comes out, right?
Yeah.
I don't eat it. This is something I've never understood. I don't eat everybody's potato salad. I don't eat anybody's potato. We say that all the time, right?
Right.
What does that mean? What is that? Really, what does that mean? I said it. But I just said it because I heard somebody else say it.
Not because you really care.
Not because I really care. And so I asked them, well, everybody doesn't know how to make it. You don't know what they're going to put in it and this, that, and the other. Well, that applies to all food.
Everything. Right. Absolutely.
So it's just...
The last question is, what is prosperity to you? No, that's not the last one. I have one more I got to ask. What is prosperity to you?
Prosperity. Prosperity is being able to have the consciousness to be able to serve from your overflow. That's what it is. That's what it means to me. To be able to serve from our overflow. And that could be money. That could be knowledge. That could be time. To have it, to have it to share, to have it to give, to have the thought to give it. That's what prosperity means to me. Prosperity means sharing.
I'm sorry, I have 2 more questions. I did the book. We're going to get to that last, but I want to ask a couple questions about the book. But is there anything here that you want to share that I didn't ask you or that we didn't talk about that you would like to share?
Oh my gosh. We covered a lot of territory. You had some really good questions. You had some really good questions, and I think we really hit the high points. But I just want I want people to just to take the first step. I want people to know that they deserve it. I want people not to be afraid. That's what I want. I want people to just try one more time and forget about all the times that they failed and it didn't work. And just think about the possibility of doing something that's radically different than what you've done before. Because this is radically different. This is radically different. To focus on belief and not behavior, because this culture wants you to stay in behavior. Because, I mean, the diet industry wants you to stay in behavior because that's how they make money. They are counting on the fact that we're going to continue to get it wrong.
And we do.
And I want people to know that they can get it right if they give themselves some grace, if they give themselves some patience, if they understand that it's not their fault. That's the thing that I want people to really get, that this is not your fault, that this culture has heaped this on you, that don't make it about you, right? Don't do that, because it's not your fault. And to know that there's relief, there's peace available, that there is an answer, and just to be patient and take it one day, one step at a time, and do it with the group. Don't feel like it's something that you gotta do by yourself. We think that, right? I should be able to do this. I should be no, because we're like babies. Babies don't just come out the womb and say, "I'm gonna go walking," right?
Right.
No, baby, watch them. They're like, okay, give me your hand. I want everybody's hand, right? They'll fall down, they'll get back up, right? They'll catch onto the counter until they get strong. Well, learning how to gain mastery over food, learning how to get the right skills to save your life, because this is about saving your life. As much as I thought it was about cute clothes in the beginning, I didn't know it was about saving my life. I didn't know it was about saving other people's lives. I'm here because I want to help people save their lives, so they can be here, so they can do the work that they were sent here to do, so that they can live in their purpose and do what they want to do. But you can't do it. You can't do it if your leg is amputated. You can't do it if you can't see. You can't do it if you can't think clearly. You can't do it if you've got somebody pushing you around in a wheelchair. You can't do it if you're out of breath every 3 steps you take. You can't do it if you look in the mirror every morning and you feel bad about how you look when you leave the house. You can't. But it's possible that you can. So
I received that. Do you exercise?
I do. This exercise thing is a journey for me. I still walk.
Okay.
I love walking. I know my doctor, and we constantly have this conversation about doing more weight training. So that's a journey for me. I signed up for yoga.
Try Pilates.
Thank you.
Try Pilates.
Try Pilates, okay. All right.
I love Pilates.
Okay, all righty. So yes, I do. And I play tennis. So I love.
How's the backhand?
Are you a tennis player?
No, I have I used to play when I was younger, and which hence my question is, how's your backhand? I never could get my backhand to get the ball over the.
Okay. Practice. I mean, it is all practice. I remember when I first started playing tennis. It was.
It was.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I was like never really athletic, but I wanted. Somebody suggested, why don't you play tennis? I mean, she saw something, I don't know, and I remember when I first started playing, I couldn't find tennis clothes to fit me because I was so big, but I still went out there. Nobody wanted to play with me because I couldn't hit the ball. The ball would go over the fence. I spent more time going.
I'm sorry.
I spent more time. I spent more time going picking up balls than I did hitting. It was horrible for about a year and a half. But I tell you what, as I walked out there and I looked and I saw other people playing, and I'm like, I know I can do that. I know I can. They were having fun. I deserve to have fun. I deserve that, and that's what kept me out there. That's what kept me going, even though it was hard and I was missing the ball, and and all of that. And now, that was in 1990s. I had played tennis all over the world, right? I played tennis all over the world. And it is fun. It is because I have mastery. I'm not like a 5-0 player or anything, but I'll hit with anybody,
Okay.
right? But I'm telling this story is because it was a skill. I had to work at it. I bought a ball machine. I got a private coach. I played with people. I mean, I did all of that because I wanted mastery. And if we start thinking about something like food, which is integral to our life, if we want mastery, we have to figure out, what am I willing to do in this toxic food environment to save my life and to get mastery? Because once you get mastery, then it's fun. Then you say, oh, I'm on this diet, right? Then your language changes. You're empowered by it. You're happy to eat for your health. You're happy to eat for your life because you have a deeper understanding. But you got to go through that kind of ugly cry part.
I understand.
You got to go through the ugly cry part.
I gotta ask this because I don't think I've asked anything about what you drink. Like I'm sure it's a lot of water. Mm-hmm. Do you do wine or any kind of alcohol?
So that was a struggle for me.
Okay.
The alcoholic beverage part, mm-hmm. Even in the early days when I was like really, I cut out all alcohol, mm-hmm. then I kind of weaved it back in, and then I started to look at it and think about what I just said. Is this going to heal me, or is this going to hurt me? Is this good for me on any level? Right? I know my weight is okay, and I can, I know I can exercise and deal with it, and be okay. But fundamentally, what is this doing to my body? Do I want what this does to mm-hmm. my body going on inside of my body? So. Yeah, that's been a journey for me. That's been a journey for me. But I have a different consciousness now about it than what I used to have. And I was listening to, and this kind of like sums it up for me, I think, really quickly. I mean, really, very, very nicely. In January, there was this movement called Dry January, where people were like not drinking during the month of January. Now they have all these drinks out, the mocktails that don't have alcohol mm-hmm, in them, so mm-hmm. it makes it easy. And I remember this woman said, well, we opened this bar, it's a dry bar. We opened this bar because, adults want to go someplace where they can have, people want to go someplace where they can have an adult drink that's sophisticated. And I said, that's it. That's the trick right there. That's at the root of this whole wine, alcohol, drinking thing. That's the emotion, because it's all driven by emotion. Not anything to do with nutrition. Is that they have marketed it to people saying, okay, once you are an adult, once you want to be sophisticated, this is what adult sophisticated people do. You want to be adult and sophisticated, then you're gonna drink. Right, then you're going to drink this, you're going to drink this, you're going to drink this, because that's what adult. And so once I started to change my definition of what it means to be adult and what it means to be sophisticated. Do I want to be sophisticated or do I want to be smart? Right? Do I want to be adult or do I want to be alive? Right? Just that.
I receive it. Mm-hmm.
But that's the question. So it's all marketing and what we believe. And what we believe about the stuff that we put in our bodies.
Now, the book you wrote the book in 21. Mm-hmm. How did that come about?
I published the book. I published the book in 21.
Okay.
Right? I published the book in 21. I wrote it during the pandemic, and by the time the pandemic hit, I had lost my weight. And I felt like it was true, right? And all the time that I was on the program, my doctor kept saying, "You should write a book. You should write a book because you really get it, right?" I was like, "I'm not writing a book." Yeah, right? It was like that,
right?
And then the pandemic hit. And when the pandemic hit, everybody was saying, "Oh my God, I'm gaining so much weight. I'm just watching TV. I'm so stressed. I'm so that." And and I didn't want that to be me, right? Frankly, I got scared. Until the pandemic, I felt like I was true. I felt like I was strong, but I hadn't been tested. And I felt like the pandemic was a test. And because I had been through that recession in 2008, I was aware enough to know that these seminal moments come, and they come for a reason. Mm-hmm. They come, and we can, if we just sit and we're quiet and we pray and we look and we listen, we can find our transformation. We can find something important when these things happen. And so I knew that this pandemic was happening for something important to happen. And so she said, write a book. And I'm like, well, I'd never kept a food log. I never kept a journal in all my years of dieting. Mm-hmm. I'd never done any of that stuff, and I always gained the weight back. Mm-hmm. And so I said, okay, I give it a shot. And so I started writing. And she said, you need to write a cookbook, right? You need to write a cookbook, but you need to include your stories, because your stories make the difference for you. And I'd done a lot of reading, and everything I read said, people want authenticity, be authentic. Mm-hmm. And so I thought, well, maybe the pandemic is going on. I guess I didn't have any idea it was going to last as long as it was. So I thought, well, I'll do 90 days in the pandemic. Here's how I managed it, right? And so I started writing that. And I was going nowhere, Tanya. I was going nowhere. And it all felt so hard, and it felt really heavy. And so I turned on YouTube, how to write a book. And the first thing they said was, pick a lane. So I'm trying to write a cookbook. I'm trying to write stories. I'm trying to write a diary. Right. I'm like, oh, it's the problem right here.
I need to pick a lane.
So I said, okay, the cookbook. Once again, I went to Google. There were millions of cookbooks. Why would somebody buy a cookbook by me, right? I'm not even a cook, right? Well, I'm not trained to shout at this. Okay. We'll throw that out. Then I looked at that 90-day diary thing. I read that. I was like, hell, I'm bored. So I can't imagine anybody would want to read this.
Got it.
And so the only thing that was left was the stories. And like I said, the story about my uncle and the watermelon, that bubbled up in this time period. And after that story, more stories came. And I knew that was the thing. Because my stories were unique to me. Nobody else had those stories. Nobody else had them. And that's how I started writing the book, because my doctor suggested. And what that did, it formed the basis of my business. It formed the basis of my coaching, which is I teach people how to write their stories, because it is in the writing of your story that you find transformation, that you find healing, that you find peace once you know how to do it. That you can, when you write your story and you tap into the story, you don't have to worry about gaining the weight back. You don't have to worry about gaining the weight back.
How much has this helped this work of food coaching, writing the book? How much has that helped your healing, your transformation?
Oh my God! Mm-hmm. Oh, it is everything. I mean, it is everything.
I received that. Mm-hmm.
It is everything.
I was talking to a friend of mine, and she made a really relevant point. She was talking, so that's what made me ask that question. She was saying that her son had trauma, and he met somebody else who had similar trauma, and so they were going to work together to heal their trauma, right? Mm-hmm. And she said it totally aggravated her. She says, because why do we have to heal through trauma with somebody else with trauma? Why can't we heal through service and heal ourselves through service through of the traumas we had? She's like, you come out more healed than you do with someone who had the same trauma, because you both are still living in the same mess. So, I believe that. I said, wow, that's a good point. Yeah, there is healing in the service of people in the same situation.
Yes.
It really is.
Yes.
So, I'm sorry that I've talked a hole in your head.
I got more. Don't get me started.
I mean, this has just been a joy for me.
the last thing I want to say, let people know how they can contact you, and let them know. I understand that you're going to give a free chapter of your book for people to look. So that's the freebie you'll be giving out. So just let people know the different social media platforms, maybe if they need to contact you, your website, etc.
Sure. So if you want to download the free chapter of the book, you can just go to leavinglarge.com. That's LEAVING large.com, and scroll to download free chapter. You can pick it up that way. You can follow me on Facebook. You can follow me on Twitter at I Am Brand New Now. You can also follow me on Instagram at I Am Brand New Now. And it's I Am Brand New Now because this is all about brand new thinking, right? When your thinking's brand new, everything in your life
Change
follows.
your mind, change your life.
Exactly. You can change it. Or you can email me directly at michelle@michellepettis.com. You can reach me that way. If you're interested in any of my healing through reading, writing, and storytelling workshops, I'll be happy to send you information on that. I am available to do workshops for people and for organizations, not just on this, but on other ways that help organizations communicate. Yeah.
Awesome. So we didn't get a chance to talk about that, but okay.
Next time.
Next time, definitely. Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful that you came here. I've enjoyed my time with you.
Thank you. The pleasure has been mine.
Awesome. Then that's it. We're going to wrap. Thank you for listening to The Breakthrough to Purpose, Passion, and Prosperity. Are you ready?